Once you learn and know how to acquire assets, it becomes a game. Honestly, it becomes a game. Like most of you might be thinking, oh, why is he talking to myself? No, it literally becomes a game. Last year, I acquired 7 properties, which wasn't much. This year, the aim is to acquire more than 20. This is an accumulation that would take most people their entire lifetime to acquire. Do you know you can actually acquire properties with no money? Do you guys understand that the aging population of business owners in Australia is more than 70% of the people selling their business today? There are a few businesses that have come about that I really like. You want to buy businesses that have It's simple. Think about it this way. Do we have any parents here as well? Any parents? Okay, well, no parents. Okay. Understand this. For those of us that have the idea or willingness to leave some sort of legacy to the next generation, it's quite important that you start teaching them as early as possible. So how you can start teaching your kids is take them to your accountant's visits. Whenever you're doing your tax return, show them what's a profit and loss. We all do tax return. Start showing them those little things. If, depending on the age of the child, some kids pick up things quicker, some, they don't understand. So you determine that. But start having that conversation. Start basically teaching them the value of money. Start making them understand that you got to be willing to do something to get money. Start having that conversation in an open forum in the family, which, to be honest, in an African family home, we never talked about money. Never ever talked. Like it felt like it was a taboo or something. We never talked about it. That would be something I would say you want to start off with. Have that open conversation in the family dining table on how money works and how they can basically improve on that. And in terms of how they can take it even another step further is get your little one's mentor. Start off with them, you being their mentor, but we all know it. Our kids don't listen to us. They'll most likely listen to someone else than us. So strategically get a mentor that is in line with the family value to mentor your kids. In regards to compounding, guys, only focus on assets that increase in value. During your accumulation phase, you've got no business with any asset that diminishes in value. For example, buying a very expensive car. Under no circumstances should you be doing that while you're still building. It is a very, very, I can't emphasize, very, very crazy, stupid thing to do. I've done that, made that mistake multiple times. And I'll tell you, it's one of the greatest mistakes I've ever made in my life. So always invest in assets that goes up in value, please. Now think about it, guys, here. For those of you online, unfortunately, are not here. Most of you that are here today, understand this. You're not just here to listen to me. You're also here to network. It's not just because you just don't know who's sitting across the table from you. It could be your next business partner. It could be your next, I don't know. But relationship, attending networking events, right? Sharing contacts, repeating that process over and over and over and again, because sometimes it could be just that one conversation that could literally change the trajectory of your life. Trust me, it's happened to me. I'm a big, massive believer of networking. Big, massive believer of that. Even if you can put in your calendar and say, you know what, I'm going to go to 1 networking event per week. Do it. You'll be surprised. Months could go by, you may not get any value, but all it takes is just that one person. That's all you need. Any fool can make a fortune. It takes a man of brains to hold on to it. Now, why I really like this particular quote is, once you learn and know how to acquire assets, it becomes a game. Honestly, it becomes a game. Like most of you might be thinking, oh, why is he talking to myself? No, it literally becomes a game. I'll give you an example. Last year, I acquired 7 properties, which wasn't much. This year, the aim is to acquire more than 20 in 1 year. Now, this is an accumulation that would take most people their entire lifetime to acquire. It's become a game for me. And when I'm talking about this acquisition, most of them, involve little to none of my own money. Do you know you can actually acquire properties with no money? Just like the same example I gave you guys on businesses too as well. You can acquire things without your money. You can acquire things based on your skills. You can acquire things based on your time. But we are so accustomed to the traditional ways of acquiring things, that's why we don't think outside the box. You'll be so surprised if I'm to tell that each and every one of you can actually acquire a $10 million business today if you want to, with zero of your money. Do you guys understand that the aging population of business owners in Australia is more than 70% of the people selling their business today? Now, if you go to cycl.com.au, businesses for sale, 70% of the businesses that are for sale, people are retiring and they don't have a next of kin to pass that business on to. So typically what happens is it stays online for years and years and years, and what ends up happening, they just end up closing up the business because nobody else wants it. There are a few businesses that have come about that I really like. You want to buy businesses that have system structures in place. So number one, I love McDonald's. McDonald's. So when you're thinking about business to buy, think about a business that could operate without you. You don't want to buy another jail sentence for yourself, because then you're just buying a job. Then you're better off going to go work for someone. You don't want to buy a job. You want to buy a business. A business is something you can establish, go in, talk, step out, and let it run itself. So something that has good system. Laundromats. I love laundromats as well. Laundromats, automated, any kind of business that's automated in a way, I love it. SaaS businesses. SaaS business, which is a subscription kind of businesses. All you just need to do is get developers that improve the system, the software, and you just keep getting those subscription come. I love this particular type of business. So if I'm to be looking at things, I'll be saying, things that has good systems in place, which is, for example, McDonald's, where 15, 14, 15, 16 years old can basically operate the business. Businesses that is a subscription model, businesses that are automated too as well. But at the same time too as well, you can run a service-based business. I talked about the real estate one, if you're passionate about it, because sometimes you could be passionate about hairdressing, you could be passionate about entertainment, or you could be passionate about makeup or whatever, which involves you doing it. So there is nothing wrong with you buying a business that you love doing too as well. Because guess what? Once you start doing something you really love, it doesn't feel like work anymore, to be honest. So going back to what I was saying in regards to this, understand this, which is my prayer for every single one of you sitting here, 5 years, 2 years from now, you guys are going to go, yes, I understand what Collins is talking about. Your main problem would be protecting your assets, not accumulating assets anymore. Because now you're so good at accumulating assets, now it's protecting it. That's the hardest bit, protecting your assets, because there are people out there. Do you all know that Australia is the second most largest litigated country in the world? So what that means is there are people out there, just the same way you leave your place of work, leave your home every day, go to work, people leave their home, go to places to find someone to sue. That's their job. And once you become wealthy, you will become a target. Wealthy people have a lot of lawsuits against them. It's part of the terrain. It's part of it. So if you don't want to be sued, if you don't want to be stressed out, maybe being wealthy is not for you. Not everyone should be wealthy, because it also comes with the stress. But the good thing about it is, at least you're going to show up to the court case in style. Maybe you show up in a limo, right? You're wealthy. You can do that. Right? So understand that, it doesn't mean because I'm saying that, do this, do that. It also has its own disadvantages too as well. You become a target. It's just the way it is. Most of these are quite straightforward, but a few I am going to basically, elaborate a little bit more. Investing and appreciating assets, we all know what that is. I'm not going to happen too much about it. Structuring it generational. What do I mean by structuring it generational? Think about it this way. If you have an intention of passing something down to the next generation and passing something down to a family member, or passing something down to your favorite charity, or passing something down to your business partner, passing something, you got to think about it from that standpoint. So for example, what can most people relate to? As most people bought businesses here? No. As most people bought properties here? Yes? Okay. See head shaking? Yes. Okay. Let's use property as an example. So let's say you buy a property and your intention, let's assume you don't have kids, you want to pass it on to your niece or your nephew or your sibling. The worst way you can acquire that property would be in your personal name. That would be the worst possible way, because then you're not taking this into consideration. The way you would want to do it, you want to do it in an entity that gives you the flexibility for you to be able to transfer ownership in a trust, and you nominating that person as a beneficiary of whatever asset that is held within that trust. Now, if it's in your personal name, the only way they'll be able to take over it when you're gone, there has to be a transfer of ownership to that person's name. And guess what happens? You may have bought that property 40 years ago, 30 years ago when you were alive, and you're long gone now. You maybe paid $500,000 for it, 500,000. And based on Australian statistics, properties double every 10 years on average. In recent time, it's doubling every 5 years, to be honest. But let's go with a conservative approach, every 10 years. That same $500,000 property that he bought, what do you think it's going to be worth in 40 years? Exactly. Then what do you think happens to his next of kings? When it comes time to transfer that wealth to them, what do you think the Australian government asks for them to pay? Correct. They pay stamp duty transfer fee. And the stamp duty transfer fee is based on the value of the property, and which is typically 4% of the value of the property. So just to give you an idea, if the property is worth $1 million, which would be way more than $1 million, that's $40,000. For every $1 million, $40,000. So if it's worth $10 million, how much do you think his next of kin can't afford it to take advantage? So what do they end up doing? They sell it. And that's asset, or that estate, disappears from his bloodline. Now you think about most of these wealthy people that have had castles, estates in their family bloodline for hundreds of years. The Europeans did this a lot, really well. It's because they didn't have it in their personal name. They did not have it in their personal name. It was held in an estate fund, it was held in a trust, it was held in an entity that whoever is nominated does not own it, but they get the benefits of it. Move to the next one, recognizing and capitalizing on opportunities. Recognizing and capitalizing on opportunity. Understand, guys, everywhere you go, there's opportunity everywhere. I came to Perth. The last time I was in Perth was like 15 years ago, and I came here, I was like, wow. And I looked at the real estate market, look at business. There is so much opportunity in Perth. You guys are sleeping. I swear to God. There is, like, my mind was blown. There is so much opportunity in Perth. I was like, I wasn't expecting it. I was thinking, I spoke to you. I was like, but when I went online last night and this morning, I was like, I wish I can stay here longer so I can speak to some potential business partner. There's so much opportunity, but you gotta be looking for it. If you don't know what you're looking for, you won't see it. You just won't see it. I walked down here, not too far from my hotel, and I saw so many opportunity. Why was I able to see it? Because I've got the lens to be able to see it. If you do not have the lens to be able to see it, you can walk past $1 billion opportunity, you won't even know it was $1 billion opportunity. So improve that skills in you to be able to see opportunity. And the only way you can improve that is coming to events like this, talking to people, speaking to people that are different from the circle that you hang around with is very important. Teaching the family early, we talked about that previously. Building strong business networks. I can't stress too much about this, but it's quite important, guys. Please don't get too caught up in your own personal world. It's important that you put yourself out there. It's extremely important. Just the right conversation with the right person can change your entire life. Rather than you doing the same thing over and over, I feel like going down on my knees and literally pleading to you guys. Doing the same thing over and over every day. Wake up in the morning, I go to my work, I do my job, stay there for 9 hours, I come back, repeat. Trust me, guys, there's a better way. It all starts with a conversation. I'll give you one example. I had one of my clients speaking to me. They spoke to the accountant, going through a divorce actually. They've got 3 properties. He's in his late 50s. They've got 3 properties. They're unoccupied, and each of the properties worth $1 million. Let's call it $1 million each. The wife is keeping 1, and he's keeping 2 and giving her $500,000 on the other one. So then that way it works out to be 1.5. So his accountant advised him to sell the investment property and sell to the wife and basically use the rest to pay his debt. So let me just quickly give you guys this to understand that having the right conversation, it could be the difference between you making money or losing money. Now, this particular client, he was so thankful, saying, Collins, I am so glad I actually spoke to you first before pulling the trigger, right? So let's paint this scenario here. 3 properties, right? We talked about 3 properties. Principal place owner-occupied, which is the principal place of residence, what's $1 million? How am I writing that? $1 million, and investment property. And IN means investments, right? IN means investments. What's $1 million as well? IN, $1 million, right? Now, the male is going to keep this one. Male, female keeps this one. But she's going to keep this one fully cleared, because this one is already fully cleared. It's like this, like about 20-something thousand-ish oil on it. So fully cleared, she's going to retain that. He's going to keep these 2, but give her $500,000. This one as well, there's only like about 200,000 oil on this. Very, very small amount oil on each of them. And this one, I think it was like about 170K oil on it too as well. Accountant said, sell this one, use the proceed, give her 500,000, and use the rest, put here, pay off your stuff. So that way, both of you kind of feel like you've walked away to one house each, fully cleared, $1 million. Fair enough, that's fine. I said, if you do that, you'll be worse off. There's something you haven't factored in here, which is capital gain tax. When you pay this one off, there is no capital gain tax because that's your principal place of residence, and you're not selling that one. So, not selling that, but this one, because now he's transferred these 2 in his personal name. That property, when they bought it 15 years ago, they bought it for like about 200 and something thousand, but just to make it easier, call it 200,000. What's the capital gain on that? 800,000, right? But they don't pay full capital gain on 800, they pay capital gain on 400,000 because 50% of that. So which they've got to give the government 200,000. So if he's to sell that property, right, for $1 million, let's take away legal fees, estate fee, real estate agent fee. Let's 100,000 goes on that. It's left with 900,000. From that 900,000 we'll minus 200,000, which is currently being owned, right? It's left with 700,000, right? Everyone is with me? Now from that 700,000, he's still got to give 200,000 to the government from the capital gain tax. So minus 200,000 on that, you're left with 600,000. Now from the 600,000, it's left, he's going to pay this off, then he's going to be left with 400,000 on this particular scenario if he's to go with his accountant. Now what I recommended was, hey, don't do that. What we're going to do, we're going to do a cash out on this. We're going to refinance this to the maximum we possibly can. We're going to tap out equity on this up to 800,000, keeping it below 80%. So then that way it gives you a cash out of 600,000, but you still got your property. Now from that 600,000, you give your ex-wife 500,000. The 100,000 you can use it to pay this one down or leave it the way it is. Then wait 1 year. When you wait 1 year, sell this property because he doesn't want any debt anymore. He's almost in his 60s, right? Doesn't want any debt. I'm like, no problem. Wait. Then what would happen after that situation? Once he sells this property, what do you think is going to happen? the ATO would basically go, well, you've got a debt of 800,000 on that investment property. You've paid 100,000 in real estate fees and things like that. What is his capital gain profit? 100,000. That's his capital gain profit. That means going from paying 200,000, he would have ended up paying only 25,000 in capital gain tax. Now that's the difference in knowing the right people and having the right conversation. From that 30 minutes conversation, I was able to save him 175,000.
That's incredible.
It is incredible. It is incredible. I was so excited for him. I was like, you bloody bastard, you better buy me something nice, right? So, but that's what it's all about. And now think about this from all different standpoints. Whatever you want to achieve, someone already has it. Look for that person. They'll shorten that process for you. I don't understand why people don't actually go to people and ask questions. Oh, I want to be an architect. Go speak to an architect. Or I want to own an architectural firm. Go speak to someone that already owns it. Nothing may come out of it, but you'll be surprised. They might shorten that process. They might be able to give you some certain loops around it. So you got to start thinking about whatever you want, whatever you need. Someone already been there, done that. Go speak to them and see how well they can shorten that process. Now, guys, when you see success, this is what success looks like in most cases. Once, as I said, by the grace of God, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now, you guys this is how people will see you successful. But this, they won't see. The sleepless nights, the sacrifices you guys made, eating healthy, staying healthy, saying no to places that you shouldn't go to, growth mindset, investing in networking events. People won't see all the sacrifices you made, but obviously they'll only see the iceberg at the top of it. So that's what basically success looks like. Now, cultivating a successful mindset, we've given so many examples in regards to how you can basically start shifting, but understand this. If you don't have these attributes, you can never be successful. Most wealthy people, look at them, I can guarantee they all have this. You see someone with a negative mindset, all they can focus on is the negative side to everything. Listen, investing is risky. I'm not saying it's not risky. It is definitely risky, but either way, you got to do it. Life is a risk. Stepping out of your home this morning is risky. You could have been hit by a bus. Don't leave your home. It's scary out there. Just joking. But you got to be optimistic. You've got to have a growth-orientated mindset. You got to be you got to be resilient as well. You got to be persistent too as well. Because growth success doesn't happen overnight. Now, I love this particular statement. I would like you guys to just have a read on this one. And tell me what you think about this. Things you have, creates wealth, income-producing assets. The reason broke people are broke is because they're only income-producing asset. I want you guys to read this and really absorb this. The reason why broke people are broke is because they're only income-producing asset. Do you guys understand what that means? The reason rich people are rich is because accumulating income-producing assets. Income follows assets. You're an asset. But you're only leveraging it on you. You got to give birth to other babies. I'm not saying literally babies, but other assets. So the burden is not just only on you. Income follows asset. This building is an asset. We're paying to be here. It's giving birth to money for the owners while the owners are not here. But if you are the only asset, you have to forever keep going out to go work for that money to keep coming in when you could have little babies all around there. So understand this. If you do not learn to create passive income. Now, I want to say this from a very loving state. If you do not learn to create passive income, you are forever condemned to work for the rest of your life. Understand that. That's your only way out. Passive income could be a form of business, it could be a form of assets, whatever, but you need to be able to create something that operates outside of you. for you to be free. Now, you might be saying, oh, you know what, this doesn't concern me. I earn 6 figures, I earn 300,000, 400,000. Great. Happy for you. But there's something you haven't taken into consideration, which is inevitable. Change. The position you hold today, the status you hold today, the job title you hold today may not be relevant tomorrow. Change is guaranteed. So once we all start understanding that change is inevitable, I could become obsolete tomorrow, then you understand the urgency to what I'm saying to you, that you need to start creating passive income outside you. Even prime ministers become irrelevant over time too as well. The most important figure in the country, after their tenure, they become irrelevant. Nobody even knows them. Who was the last 20 years prime minister? Can someone just say the name of the last 20 years prime minister quickly? Oh, we can't remember. All right, cool. There you go. Irrelevance. Nobody cares, right? So that's the point I'm making to as well, right? Please, this is very important. I know I'm joking about it, but it is so important. I see it happen all the time. See it happen all the time. We think we're invisible. It's never going to happen to us. But for some reason, it always seems to happen to us. All right. These are successful mindset tools that you basically need to be successful. Set clear goals. It sounds so simple, so basic, so straightforward, but it's not that so simple. Set clear goals, positive self-talk. I love that positive self-talk. By the raise of hand, who basically talks positivity to themselves? And how can someone say, how often do you do it?
Every day.
Every day? Every day?
Practice that.
Yes.
I didn't wake up.
Yes.
I'm positive to myself.
Yes.
I started off in the mirror.
Yes.
Every day. And then it just became automatic.
Oh, I love you already. I do the same thing. It's my daily ritual. I wake, you see me in the morning, you think I'm crazy. You think I'm possessed. I look myself in the mirror, Collins, you're amazing, you're wonderful. Thank you so much for today. Today's going to be a great day. Thanks for the heartbeats. Thank you for the blood that runs around my vein. When was the last time we actually said thank you for the heartbeats? Thank you for the blood that runs around. Things just happens in your life, you don't even think about it. Just like the air you're breathing freely. You know, understand that the air you're breathing freely, without you even having to think about, you can actually attract money to yourself freely that same way. Once you know and learn how to harness those type of powers too as well. So you don't need to wait for anyone to say you're amazing. Say to yourself, I'm amazing. It's so important. There's even a study that says that, you know, when you speak positive talk to plants, they grow better. The power of positivity is amazing. You know, take 2 kids, for example. One born in a Oh, yes, this is a good example. One born in a poor home and one born in a wealthy home. The one in a poor home, the parents will have conversation like, oh, don't complain. You should be grateful that you have one meal to eat. You know, you should just be quiet. Just be happy that you were able to lay your head on, you know, you had somewhere to sleep. Just, you know, bare minimum, bare minimum, bare minimum. That's what that kid is accustomed to, and they'll grow up their life thinking they're average because that's what they know, and they would end up becoming average. Statistic. The other child born in a wealthy home, the parents will say words, things like, the world is your oyster, you can achieve anything you want in life. All you need to do is speak it and it's yours. What do you think that child is going to grow up to be? That child will probably grow up to become your leader because he truly do believe that he owns the world. Positive self-talk starts from a very low grassroots. What you say to yourself is so important in closed doors. What you say in public spaces is bullshit. It doesn't matter. It's what you say to yourself in closed doors. In that time with yourself, we spend time with this brain of ours 24/7. That conversation going up here is more important than the words coming out from your mouth. Super important. Learn from failures. Understand you can never achieve true success without failures. Some of the failures I have, I will never wish it on my own enemies. So understand that. So surround yourself with positivity. Time is ticking, I can see. giving it a nudge. Surround yourself with positivity. I wanted to quickly share something with you guys saying, do you know there's a particular study that was done which is called the bad apple effect? This study was done in 2006. You can look it up. It's called the bad apple effect, where they've got a group of 5. And in that group, they've separated that group and they put a negative person randomly in one of the group. Do you know the group where they put the negative person, 40% of their work was horrible, 25% of their work, quality of their work was crap, 50% disagreements within that group, and they couldn't get into a level of understanding. And the funny thing about this particular study, this study went for like about 60 minutes at a time. Now, why am I saying this? Most of you have negative people in your life for your entire life. Now, let that sink in. Do you know what sort of mental damage they're doing to you? Your environment is so important, guys. You can take an average person like myself. Why I say myself? I barely made it out of university. And I'm saying this to you guys because please don't think I'm a very intelligent person. I am not. I'm just quite persistent. I'm just naturally stubborn, which is a trait most last born gets. Quite naturally stubborn. When I place my mind on something, only if God comes down, that's the only thing that can avoid me from, achieving that. But understand this, when you take an average person and place them in the right environment, they will do extremely well. Take a genius, put them in the wrong environment, they'll become rubbish. Your environment is critical. If you surround yourself with bums, you hear the saying that, if you hang around 5 broke people, you might be the next broke one. It's a lie. There's 6 broke people. Get that? It's not 5. You're 6. It's not you might. You are broke. It's that simple. Your environment is as important. I said to a guy, he said to me, and again, this is a true life event. He said to me, Collins, one of my mentees, he said, Collins, my area, I'm not going to say the area, it's the area in Sydney. He said, my area, oh man, every night there's gunshot. I don't like the area. I said, but the house is affordable. I said, have you considered moving out of the area? Have you considered moving to a nicer area? He said, yeah, I've looked at it, but the rent is like 2 times the value. I said, it's not really about the rent. It's about the environment, the connection you're going to get in that area, the people you're potentially going to meet, the opportunity, the doors that environment could potentially open for you too as well. Because if you stay in this particular area for too long, before you would know it, you'll start getting drawn into the wrong environment, into the wrong people too as well, and into the wrong crowd. And guess what? He took my advice. He was working at a job where he was getting paid 65, below 70,000. I can't remember exactly. Definitely below 70,000. He moved to an area called North Sydney, more closer towards the Milsons Point. I don't know if you guys know where the Luna Park is. Really nice area. Let's just assume he was paying $600 a week where he was previously staying, and in a new place, he was paying $1,200. Double a week. Smaller. He was living in a house. Now he's living in an apartment, 2-bedroom apartment, less than 60 square meters. But in that same area, he was introduced to someone that gave him a job, and now he's earning $140,000 a year within a space of 12 months. That change happened from that area. Right? So please don't understand. Yeah, it may not happen for everyone the same way, but your environment does go a long way.